for today. Thank you.
All right. Letting people in.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the August Community Cafe. We are letting our folks join this morning, so we'll give it just another minute. But as you're getting connected to audio, please introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know your name and what organization you're with. We still have some people joining. Hi, Terilyn.
I think everybody's in.
The purpose of our community cafes is just to talk about pressing and emerging topics, also for a space to for our community partners to be able to connect and share resources. So again, please introduce yourself in the chat. Hi, Dr. Casey. All right.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Hi, Kimberly. All right. So hopefully those intros will continue to roll in. We will go ahead and get started. I am Amani Pagis, and I'm the health educator with the training team at Partners. And today I'm your host. Our topic for today is bullying. August is National Bullying Prevention Awareness Month. So our topic for today, we're going to talk about bullying, and we have two amazing speakers here to talk about their programs. So just to get started, I looked up some statistics. I did not memorize these statistics, but I will read them out to you. So one statistic, about 1 in 5 high school students reported being bullied on school property in the past year. This is from the CDC. Also in 2021 into 2022, approximately 19% of students ages 12 to 18 years old reported being bullied during school. And then lastly, I thought this one was pretty powerful. When bystanders intervene, the bullying stops within 10 seconds in about 57% of cases. So just thinking about the power of, yes, prevention, but also intervention when someone steps in. So I do have a quick video that talks about the difference between bullying and teasing, because nowadays kids, they're very playful. They like to joke around. They like to roast each other and just, joke around. So I do have a short video that just talks about the difference between what is bullying and what is teasing. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see my video slide? Okay.
Let's be real. Kids tease each other all the time. How can I tell the difference between teasing and bullying?
In bullying, one kid or a group of kids make threats, spread rumors, attack someone physically or verbally, and exclude another. There's a power imbalance in bullying that can be pretty hurtful.
Yeah, sometimes kids can tease back and forth like a game. If the person being teased says it bothers them and it feels like bullying, then it probably is. You can always ask.
Bullying also happens a lot with the same people. They want to make that one person feel really bad about themselves.
So really quick and to the point, I just wanted to give us a foundational knowledge of what bullying is. So we will go ahead and move on to our speakers. So our first speaker is Shanice Bailey. She is the Director of Student Wellness with Gaston County Schools. So Shanice, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be a part of this meeting because, of course, bullying and bullying prevention and intervention is so important, especially when it comes to in the schools, because that's usually where the bullying happens. So what I'm going to really focus on is the Say Something anonymous reporting system. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody said they couldn't see me. I'm not sure.
I can
Say
see you.
something.
I can see you
You
fine.
can see me. Okay. Thank you. Say Something anonymous reporting system. I'm going to go into the history of it and what it is and how it can help be an intervention with bullying. I apologize if there's some different noises. I'm at a school today, elementary school. So, of course, schools have kids and other noises going on. So, that's what that is. But Say Something Anonymous Reporting System is through a nonprofit organization called Sandy Hook Promise. And Sandy Hook Promise was started after the school shooting at Sandy Hook. The parents got together and pretty much said, we want to do something, turn our pain into help for other children. And really, they formed this nonprofit, and there are a lot of different programs that have come out of this nonprofit. But one of the biggest ones is the Say Something Anonymous Reporting System. So it's a lot of great things about it, but one of them is that it's of no cost to the school system and it's national. So any school system can use it. So the Say Something Anonymous Reporting System, it is essentially a system where people can submit tips, and it goes to a crisis center. Here in Gaston County, we use it for our middle school and high school level. So it teaches our youth how to recognize signs and threats, and it gives them a way to report that. Say Something, the system is not just for youth to make reports, but anyone can. And it doesn't have to be necessarily people associated with the school. It can be anybody even outside of a school if they become aware of something. So the tip management process. So when a tip is submitted, and I'll go through in a little bit how a tip can be submitted. But when it's submitted, it goes to a crisis center. The crisis center is actually run by Sandy Hook Promise. It's their staff, they're trained. I think it's in Florida or something like that. So all of the tips go to them. So what they do is they essentially, once they receive a tip, they review it. And then they classify it under either it could be life safety, it could be non-emergent, non-immediate, those type of things. And then that determines what happens next with that tip. So they also will figure out, is a tip associated with something like bullying? Is it associated with something like a threat to self or others, harassment? It could be many different things that a tip could be about. So a tip will then go to the school system that it's associated with. And again, this is across the country, not just here in Gaston County or North Carolina. So anytime a tip is put in, that person has to associate it with a school. So that is a requirement. So that way it can go to the school system. So they'll say what the school is, what state the school is in. And then a crisis team will figure out where to send it to. Because sometimes people will make a report or put in a tip, and it's not necessarily it doesn't necessarily ask for like an address or something like that. So they will figure out what the school is, where it goes to, and get it to that school. Every school has a contact list that's given to Sandy Hook Promise. The principal is always the leader of that list. And then it can be a counselor, a social worker, assistant principal, various others that are a part of that list where the tip will then go to. So once it's submitted to the crisis center moves it up to the school, and it's sent into the school through like a communication portal. And in there, you can actually see the tip. Pretty much whatever somebody wrote in, because they kind of have to like type out or write in whatever the tip is. So you can see that whole exchange, and they also can chat with the crisis person. And a lot of times that crisis person will ask them clarifying questions to try to get as much information as possible. and engage them in a discussion. So once it goes to the school, you can log in and see all of that information and figure out and come up with a plan on what to do next. So if it is a tip involving bullying, it will ask who the perpetrator is, who the victim is, the circumstances, the situation. And once the school has that information, they can come together with a plan on how to address it. Speaking with the students, speaking with parents, getting more information and figuring things out. But another good thing is that it's anonymous. So there is no indication of who submitted the tip, and the school has to agree to keep it anonymous. That's kind of what comes with it being an anonymous reporting system. So that helps people to feel a little bit more comfortable with submitting a tip, knowing that their name is not going to be associated with the tip. So once it's given to the school, they come up with a plan, and then a tip can be closed out if it's all, wrapped up and settled. So that would be a non-immediate tip, something that is not like a life-threatening emergency. Say it is a life-threatening emergency, usually self-harm, suicide, or a threat to others in some kind of a way. Then it will actually go to not just the school, but also to the associated police department with that town, that county, however, it's worked out. It will go to them as well. So it's really vital, especially if it's like middle of the night, because this is 24/7 system. It will go directly to the police. They will then try to figure out exactly where this tip is coming from. So that's kind of where the school can be a part of that, even if it's the middle of the night, by figuring out the address of whoever that reported person is that the concern is about. And the police can then do a wellness check if they determine that that's necessary to kind of figure out what's going on. So that just really sums up in a very quick way what Say Something is. Again, tips can be submitted 24/7 any day. And tips are submitted in different ways. There's an app that can be downloaded on a phone, and you can submit it that way. There's also a website, which is what I think we get most of our tips from, is a website, and it can be submitted that way. And there's also a hotline, so it can be a phone call to the crisis center. We don't see that one too much, but that's also an option. And some of the biggest things I think we get tips about are bullying, are depression, self-harm, and also substance use, and also harassment and threat to like a school. May not be to necessarily a specific person, but it could be like a school shooting threat or anything, any indication like that. So those are some of our top threats or kind of tips that are reported. So trying to think what else I can add to this. Also with Sandy Hook Promise and associated with the anonymous reporting system, they have different programs and trainings. So students watch videos on what the system is. They also, schools have posters all around, and the website is on their school website. So just trying to get it out there to students and to families too, that this is something that's available, even community members. This is something that's available to make reports. Let's see. They also have different programs when it comes to just helping train and teach students to really connect with each other. On the elementary, really on any level, but on the elementary side, they do something called Start with Hello. And what that is just pretty much a week of different programming that can be done. Just meetings, activities, and really just encouraging kids to just get to know each other and just reach out to somebody sitting next to you. Or if you notice somebody, that you don't really know much about, just go up to them and just start talking to them. So really helping them with that communication and building those social bonds. And it's usually done towards the beginning of the school year. Every year. So let's see, what else do they have? They also have safe clubs, and that is something that can be associated with any after school group. And Sandy Hook Promise will send materials, curriculum to any registered Save Club. And that just is like a peer-to-peer kind of group. It's really casual, really low key, but it just kind of emphasizes, again, that connection, those social skills, and just getting to know one another outside of the academic setting. So those are kind of the very basics of Sandy Hook Promise. But again, all of this is provided at no charge to any school system. So they're doing really, really, really good work. And I know for a fact that we've received tips that have been really concerning and been able to intervene before, anything horrible happened. So it's definitely something to spread that this is available, and really helpful and really useful. So I hope I explained that really well, but please ask any questions.
Shanice, we have a couple questions in the chat. The first one is there any follow-up from Say Something after the tip has been classified and sent to the appropriate school and or law enforcement?
Yes. So the tip can't be closed out until there is some kind of follow-up done. So the follow-up can be really anything that the school determines is necessary, but they will have all of that in writing, all that information, and then they will do some kind of an action to follow up with it, and then they can close the tip out. And a tip does stay connected with the crisis center. In that portal, there's communication done with the crisis center, actually with law enforcement too, if necessary, and then with the school, with myself from the district level. So we all kind of can, put our heads together, figure something out, follow up, and then close out the tip.
Awesome, thank you. Another question is, in cases of self-harm or suicidal ideation, do they coordinate with 988 at all, or do you know?
No, so in those circumstances, I think they do put the information out there when they're chatting with the tipster, but a lot of times the tipster may not be the actual person in crisis. So that's why they really contact the police if they determine it's an immediate need, and the police will do a wellness check.
I actually have a question, and if you said this, I apologize.
Oh, no
Does
problem.
this also cover things that are happening on the internet, like cyber issues as
Yes.
well? Okay, cool, perfect.
Yes, I didn't cover it. I'm glad you brought that up. So any type of bullying, so even cyberbullying, it will cover that. And in that portal, the crisis center person who's communicating with the tipster will try to get as much information as possible, because of course it's a little bit more difficult to follow up with cyberbullying and social media and those type of things, but they'll try to get as much information from that tipster as possible. And something else I didn't add, so I'm glad you brought that up, is that tipster can upload documents or screenshots or pictures, anything like that, with the tip. So that will also be sent to a school. So say they see something online that they're concerned about, or a post, or they have a text message exchange, they can always screenshot that and upload that with the tip. So anybody connected to that tip will be able to see it.
Shanice, I also have a question as well. So with the students, you mentioned that there is a training that they can go through. Is that for the discretion of the school, or is it a requirement that each school has to go through this yearly? How's that decided?
So they're supposed to do it, all sixth graders, since they're new to the system. And then from there, kind of like just a quick refresher. And it's a video that they watch. They can watch it as a class, they can watch it individually. There's also training for educators and anybody that is on the list to be contacted, in the event of a tip. So they're all different trainings based on the role that somebody will play in this whole thing. So that way they understand the purpose of Say Something, the impact of it, and also how it works. But yes, we encourage schools to do this training with students, have them watch the videos so they understand and know that this is out there.
That inspired another question. Is the student training program one that can be used in other nonprofit programs?
I don't believe so, because it really just focuses on the anonymous reporting system and on Sandy Hook Promise. So I don't believe so.
Shanice, I have a question too, and that is, I don't even know how to phrase this exactly, but is it appropriate or does it happen that the person being bullied makes the report through
Yes.
this app?
Yes, that does happen. So really what they emphasize is that it could be anybody from anywhere at any point in time that is aware of something, whether it's happening to you, you see it happening to somebody else, you've heard of it happening to somebody else, you've seen it online. It really can be anything. So there are times when a student being bullied will report that. We've had times when parents will report their own student being bullied. So it comes in a lot of different ways. That's a good question. Oh, thank you.
Shanice, this might be a loaded question. I know
Mhm.
for a fact, obviously Gaston County Schools uses it. I know that Statesville schools system use it as well. Do you know off the top of your head any other school systems that use this that are kind of in Partners catchment area, specifically Davie County, maybe? Or anywhere
I'm not
else?
sure. I'm not sure specific counties. I do know as a state with North Carolina, this is something that is not necessarily a requirement, but this is something that they kind of tell all districts, like, you need to use this. So I'm under the impression majority of districts use it, especially because it is at no cost. So that majority of districts do use it. But I'm not sure of which specific one.
That's fair. Thank you. I know that sometimes when we do training with young people who are in schools, we're always like, do you guys have the Say Something app? And some of them like blank stare, right? They're like, what are
Yes,
you talking
yes.
about? And then
I
some kids
agree.
are
I
like, oh yeah, I
agree.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we emphasize using that as a resource for them. So that's great. Thank you.
All right, a lot of great questions.
Yeah.
If you have any more questions for Shanice, please put them in the chat and we can address them at the end. So thank you so much, Shanice.
Of course. Thank you all.
And are you able to stay on for questions?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to transition to our next speaker, who is Kim Boss, the Executive Director with Outright Youth.
Hello, thanks for having me here today. I've been with Outright Youth of Catawba Valley since January of this year. And for those of you who don't know what it is, we are a organization that supports LGBTQ youth ages pretty much 12 to we're now up to 24 years of age in a 5-county radius. We serve kids in Catawba, Caldwell, Burke, Alexander, and Lincoln counties. We do have a couple from other places too, but those are counties that don't have anything other than our organization to serve them. The closest places, other places for kids to be that kind of offer the similar services are there's Timeout Youth in Charlotte, and that is a really big organization. And then there's in Asheville Youth Outright, which is opposite of us. And I always get that mixed up. We're Outright Youth and they are Youth Outright. So I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit about, I've got some slides that I will show you here. Shanice, that was super helpful. I'm going to try to find out if all of our counties that we cover use Say Something, because that I had heard of it, but I know much more now. So thank you. All right. So let's see. Can you see that? Okay. So Outright Youth was founded in 2010 by a doctor named William Long in Conover, and he was seeing a lot of kids coming through his young patients coming through his office who were being bullied and abused many times by their own families. And there were a lot of kids just suffering in silence with nowhere to turn. So he, along with a few community members, created a safe harbor for bullied and isolated LGBTQ youth. Our mission at Outright Youth is to create a safe space and provide support for LGBTQ plus youth and their allies. And through our work in the community, we aim to create safer schools and communities for LGBTQ plus youth while providing a safe space for them to gather and learn skills that directly benefit their general and mental health. Beyond that, our vision is to serve as a vehicle of change in our community by helping LGBTQ youth navigate adolescence and young adulthood in positive ways while educating others regarding their worth, value, and benefits of a diverse population. We want to build a society where LGBTQ youth are celebrated, supported, and empowered to reach their full potential, free from discrimination and prejudice. So why this matters. According to the Trevor Project's 2024 National Survey, 41% of LGBTQ youth seriously considered suicide in the past year. And over half of transgender and non-binary youth did. One of the things contributing to the spike in this, which I believe it's probably even higher now, politics and legislation that is happening in the country and more specifically in places like Western North Carolina. It is drastically impacting and affecting their mental health. Some of the strategies that have been proven to help youth in this situation, crisis support and referrals. We have, connections to different 24/7 hotlines, like through the Trevor Project, and the 988 lines, but also connecting them to affirming local mental health providers and trying to get them matched with people who understand what they're going through. Creating community and belonging. We have a weekly youth group. We have a couple now. We are doing, well, I'll go through that in a minute, but we have every Wednesday night, we have a youth group with kids ages 12 to 21, LGBTQ youth and allies, every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. And we have, a themed program every week where we create safe and affirming peer connections. And we always have a number of adults here that have been background checked and vetted and, trained as to how to be an ally and how to work with these kids. We partner with the schools and we provide ally training in the community. We are trying to run different initiatives that reduce stigma and foster inclusivity. We are, family and ally engagement. We're involving the parents, caregivers, and community allies through education, book clubs, and outreach to faith groups. We will be showing some movies. We're starting a couple different book clubs and to read books about these people. A lot of times people have never met a trans person, or they have never met, or they don't really know. I mean, they maybe have someone in their family who is gay, but they don't really understand it. And so we're trying to foster deeper understanding. Inclusive activities, we are doing like trips to the museum. I'll show you in a minute, we are one of the organizations being sponsored by Q Fitness in Charlotte, and we are going to be running an 8-week running training program for people who want to go like couch to 5K. And then advocacy and visibility, excuse me. I used to run the farmers market here, and I have actually run for state legislature 3 times. So I have kind of built up a voice here, I guess, in my area. And I am using that now to talk about how these kids have been marginalized and how we want them to be we want them to know they belong here and that there is a place for them right here in the middle of things, and they don't just need to exist on the edges, and they belong here. So our current weekly program, we have a weekly youth group on Wednesday nights, and we have that all the time. We never cancel that. We have the educational and recreational activities, peer and ally support networks, and community partnerships and referrals to resources. So we do have a number of people that we refer, a number of people in the community that we refer kids to. I'm so sorry, I keep kind of losing my voice there. And we have vetted those, and we keep that list up to date. Just an example, tonight we have our youth group, and it's kind of a back to school theme, and it's thriving at school. And we will talk with the kids about, what strategies they can use to have a good year. And if bullying comes up, what kinds of strategies they can use. And then we'll usually do an art project or play a game. We'll have options where kids can do one or the other thing. We've been getting some really good conversations going lately, which has been great. We have also started an older group. It is a young adult fellowship and entrepreneurial night, which we are doing every third Thursday. And we have kids ages 18 to 24. And that is also from 6 to 8 p.m. We're partnering with the Carolinas, the LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce. And then also Katie Woolman at Lenore Ryan University is coming in to help talk with the kids about career planning and what they want to do with their lives, work on resumes, how to prepare for interviews, how to be yourself in an interview, even if you feel like you may not be accepted in an interview. Those are all things that come up specifically for LGBTQ youth. We are also partnering with Counsel and Adolescents, and they are going to do a teen talk session, which is an 8-week program that they run. We're going to do that on Tuesdays from 6 to 7:30 for 8 weeks coming up starting in September. And this we would need a parental permission slip for, but we do have that coming up. This is the 5K that I was mentioning. We are going to do some training here. The Q Fitness provides an 8-week training program that you can use. And so we're going to use that with our kids in our community to try and get a group going to run, to walk, and just to cheer us on. So that is exciting. We have our main fundraiser that we do every year. This is our signature event. It's called Gala this year, True Colors, and we will be doing that at Lake Hickory Country Club on November 1st. So we've had a lot of challenges since since January, since I came in the door. We lost federal funding that we had since the beginning in probably, well, it's actually just gone away this last month, but we found out a couple months ago. But due to all the federal cuts, we lost some of that. But we have really taken it as an opportunity to look at our organization. I think there was a little bit of people were a little bit, they counted on that and didn't have to look at doing things differently. So we've been able to cut some costs. We've really rallied an amazing group of volunteers, and we are getting a lot of community support. We moved into a new space. Our treasurer on our board owns this building. We are now in the Green Park Dentistry building in Hickory. It's a larger, safer space and with the same rent, and they will also be flexible on the rent with us if for some reason we can't replace the funding as quickly as we want to. That is one of my main jobs is writing grant proposals and doing community outreach and really creating the buzz that we need to keep our doors open. But it has really, it looks like I covered that up with the logo. It's really renewed our vision as a safe harbor and a community change agent. So let's see. oh, I mentioned we've had a recent influx of community volunteers. They are supporting the youth groups, they're donating snacks, they're doing mentoring, doing activities. It really has been heartwarming, showing that there are lots of people that want to stand with these youth during this time where it's become especially difficult for these kids to be who they are. And then just how the community can help if anyone would want to get involved, but you can show up and attend events that we're at, show youth that you support what we're doing, volunteer. As I said, we do training and we do a background check for everyone who does come and work with the young people. You can donate and you can advocate. You can raise your voice against bullying and harmful laws that discriminate against people. So this is our website, Outright Youth CV, which stands for CatawbaValley.org. And that's my email in case anyone has any questions or wants to reach out.
Thank you so much, Kim. And
Sure.
also Amber, she put the contact information for Outright Youth and Kim Bost in the chat as well. So I'll
Thank
open it up for any questions that anyone has.
One thing I did want to mention, I've had questions about getting transportation, because we do have some kids that would really like to come that we don't have, who maybe don't have transportation. And that is something we're looking into in the future, possibly having like, lift car, kind of lift accounts that we can work with kids on. Or we can't personally pick them up or drop them off, but trying to figure out something like that. I'm writing grants to do satellite meetings in the different counties that we're located in. So to be able to, be in Burke County once a month with a meeting there, not just everyone having to come here all the time. So those are a couple things that we're working on because we cover such a large area.
Kim, I do have a question. You mentioned the advocacy piece. Is that something that the youth participate in as well?
They do. We talk a lot about it. Some of them do. Some of them, a lot of the kids that we have are kind of in the throes of figuring out who they are. The ones who are more confident, we do have a young poet who is a senior at a college here, and they wrote a book of poetry, and they are donating part of their proceeds to Outright Youth, and they are really raising their voice and talking about things. I think as the kids come into their knowing who they are more, they're more comfortable doing that. And that's kind of what we're trying to help them feel comfortable to do.
Definitely. So I'll open it up just for general questions. Thank you again, Kim.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
While we still have our two speakers on.
You could also, if you might think you might have questions, or even if you just know someone who, in your life that, oh gosh, I wonder if this could be a resource for them. I would encourage you to go to our website and just sign up to get our emails. And we send it out every week, especially if you're involved in schools or with kids. There may be someone you come across that you think, oh, that could be good for them. And you'll get our programs every week. We'll send that out in an email. So.
And
And
can you name those 5 counties? I'm sorry, Amani. Can you name those 5
Sure.
counties one more time for us, please?
Yeah. So we're located in Catawba County, but we have kids that come from Caldwell, Burke, Alexander, and Lincoln. And I actually had a mom who brought their child from Gaston because they said it was too hard to get into Charlotte, that it was easier to come to Hickory, which that sounds crazy, but
I'm curious, this is Jeannie, do you have any youth who maybe start coming to your support groups who haven't really come out yet? Is that, or are you
Mhm.
near there to
Yeah, we
support them
do.
through that
Yes.
process?
Yes, we do. We do. And it is a safe space. What we talk about here, you know, doesn't go outside of our area. And that does get a little bit tricky. I have a couple kids whose parents think they come to an art club. And we do art every time. And it is LGBTQ youth and allies. I mean, I am a lifelong ally. I've got an intern who's an ally. We've got, it's allies and LGBTQ youth. So it's yeah. Um yeah. uh some kids don't feel comfortable and can't talk to their parents about it, but also they aren't comfortable in their own skin the way they are, and they just have no outlet. So,
I'm glad you're there for them.
yeah, thank you.
Definitely. Again, all contact information is in the chat. And thank you to our amazing speakers once again. I will now pass it to Jerry Campbell, who will be doing our closing and our quick overview for next month's topic.
Amani, I think it's mean. I am not Jerry Campbell, and I will not pretend to be him at all. But that's okay. Next month is September, which has several different passionate behavioral health advocacy advertisements for, but we're going to focus on Recovery Month. We have a phenomenal speaker who is going to actually, hopefully, take up the entire segment of our community cafe hour and talk about the connection to addiction in the brain, and then also tell his story of recovery. It should be a really great cafe. I'm going to put the link to register in the chat, and you'll see more advertisements come out as the time gets closer. But I just wanted to put that plug out there that it's going to be a really phenomenal cafe in September. So we hope to see you all there.